I was on a hunt looking for a guy. This truck pulled up to me and they was like, hey, you better get off this block. And they started shooting. I'm running for my life. There's no one to help you. It had to be at least 20 shots. So that was my first a rude awakening that this badge don't mean nothing to certain people.
Dang. Oh, yeah, shooting at cops? Come on, you gotta be a different type of stupid to shoot at a cop. I guess you want to run, though.
A bounty hunter is an agent that goes out to apprehend fugitives that are on bail that have skipped court. The misconception people have for bounty hunting is that it's all glitz and glamour. People watch it on TV and all they see is the fun part.
Kicking in.
They see the door kicking, the chasing, the hunt. Yeah. They don't see the countless hours that you're sitting in a car doing surveillance. They don't see the death threats you're getting for looking for certain individuals. You got people calling, threatening you, if you come back to my house, I'm gonna kill you. I've made over 2,000 arrests. One of the things that make me unique is the lengths I'm willing to go to find people. I'm very crafty. There was a young lady, she was a prostitute, and she was on the run. So what I did was, I put up a Craigslist ad advertising that I was shooting a porno. So I put the ad up because I was told that she periodically goes online to Craigslist and other websites to look for odd jobs. And she wind up hitting this ad. Probably about a week later, we got a call.
She got your IP address.
Photos, and she bit. She bit on it. We gave her a location at the motel to meet there. We told her what to expect. We had music playing. We had the camera set up, obviously, so she would think it was shooting actual porn. But it was no different because if I was hunting, I would have my camera set up. So it worked out perfectly. I had my shirt off. I was well lathered up to play the part. She came in, she felt comfortable. Then I told her, hey, we're gonna switch to this scene. I'm going to put some handcuffs on you. Things might get a little wild. And she was like, oh, okay, I like this. This is starting to turn out great.
The freaky.
At this point, she's cuffed up. Then I say, okay, we're gonna go to the next scene. I'm gonna take you to the car. And she's still just going along with it at this point. I take her to the car, and she's still not aware of what's going on at this time. We start getting closer to the police station. Now she's like, well, where are we going? I'm like, I'm taking you to jail. And she's like, we're having a scene in jail? I said, you're gonna have a scene in jail, but I'm taking you to jail. I'm your bail bondsman. A bail bondsman is a insurance agent that loans out money to defendants who can't necessarily afford to bail out themselves. She realized that the gig is up. She realized she was going to jail. So it was crazy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was something.
You have to be honest with yourself. Certain places are more friendlier than others. Early on in my years, I went to Detroit. I was on a hunt looking for a guy.
Detroit good, bro. I heard Detroit kind of got better. People say Baltimore got better too. And I mean, to be honest, I don't know. There's no difference. Obviously, I was like, we was wild when we were younger. Well, like my generation is weed, but I just want to know, like, is Detroit actually better? Because kid might move over to Detroit. You never know.
And I thought that me having a badge and a gun meant something. I was around in the neighborhood. I was like on 6-7 Mile. Like I was in the trenches, handing out. This was old school. I was handing out pictures, flyers. Hey, seen this guy? Seen this guy? Walking around, just willy-nilly. And I'll never forget, this truck pulled up to me, and it was like, hey, you better get off this block. Get out of here. If we come back here and you still here, it's gonna be problems. I paid them no attention. Again, I'm high and mighty. I'm thinking, whatever, they're not gonna do nothing to me. They're just talking. They came back, maybe about an hour or so, and they started shooting and chasing me. And I'll never forget, I remember finally getting into this abandoned building.
That's just insane to me that you're chasing down a police officer, bro. A police officer. You're that deep in that you're chasing down a police officer. I didn't think that was common, bro.
Hiding.
I thought that was like.
And they were still looking. So walking around looking.
Once, 2 times
I had
a
dropped
decade.
my phone. I had no one to call. I was just sitting in there, scared. out of my life thinking, wow, this it's about to be over. So I'm sitting in there, and they stayed out there looking for at least about 45 minutes.
But I ain't gonna
And I
lie.
waited at least another hour and 15
That's
minutes before I
insane.
left. Don't ever get it twisted to think that I'm above or I can do anything I want or talk to anybody any type of way, because there's people who don't care about that, and they'll put you in your place. I've been out at
People
the
don't be caring
mall
about their
several times
lives.
with my family. I was out with my wife, my daughter. I see a guy that has a warrant. I've been looking for it for a while. He sees me, I see him. And at this point, I'm like, I can't do this here. My kid's here, my wife is here. This could literally go south. In those situations, you gotta pick or choose, you know, are you gonna prioritize your job or your family at that point? And this has happened to me multiple times where we get to a person's house or in their neighborhood, in their hood, and they have 30 guys with them, armed to the T, and police won't come out and help us. What do you do at that point? You let your ego, your pride get in front of you? No. You gotta understand that if you approach this situation with an ego, that you may not leave.
Try again. It's kind of like some
As far as
CIA work.
tracking, my first method that I'm always gonna do is go straight to social media. I'm gonna see you're posting stuff on Facebook or Instagram or your live. If I don't find any social media, I'm gonna start looking, finding out where you hang out at. He lives here, let me go check with this store. Does this guy come in here? Yeah, he comes here every day, gets a pack of cigarettes. So you learn their habits. Then it goes to association. 95% of the time, I'm not even hunting these guys. I'm looking for the women that they hang with, because they're not hiding. And they're always gonna post them online. I'm here, so-and-so, and you might see his foot in the background.
I
So
don't know
early on
why
in
I
my career,
posted online, boy. Dumb.
I was good at my job. So I would catch someone and other bonds.
I realize that people don't be caring what you're doing, right? Like, nobody cares, bro. I feel like you should only like have a social media for like your family and like maybe like close friends. Other than that, like, why are you posting everything, bro? You just posting your close friends, bro. What the heck?
Will recommend me to other bondsmen. And this particular lady reached out
Unless
to
you're
me,
making money off
particular
of it, that's a whole
bondsman,
different story.
and she said, hey, I'm looking for this guy. I got him out for $1 million. I cannot find him. So if I found this guy with this $1 million bond, I would make 10% of that, which is $100,000. So that's a lot of money. This was like a major payday for me. I was struggling at the time, just trying to make a career out of this. She gave me this case file. I looked into it.
Was it contracted or
This
was it
particular
like?
guy, he was a street guy.
Yeah,
He sold
like,
drugs. He had several women,
have,
but I found one particular woman that he had a
what's the
kid
word?
with. So I knew he was an
You
active
need
father
like some sort of
as much as
certificate.
he could being in the streets. So I knew that he was, at some point, he would come back to visit her to see his son. And she was a dancer, so there was no loyalty. She was gonna go whoever had the money. So when I found out where she danced, I started to frequently go in there. I would purposely request her. I would purposely spend money on her to the point where she got a little comfortable. I was so-and-so, hey, how you doing? Now again, I wouldn't do this today, I'm married. But we started to develop a relationship. I can't remember exactly what I told her I did for a living. I just told her I'd get money, and that was cool with her. I probably put in thousands of dollars to find this person, to court her, take her out. So after about a month of courting her, kicking it, spending some money, and finally got to a day, it was Father's Day. And she was like, yeah, hey, he's gonna come pick up her son at this time. So I'm like, cool. So this day I had made sure I had my vest packed up in my bag and all my tools that I needed. I'll never forget, he knocked on the door, came in. I started thinking like, man, this is kind of messed up. You kind of start feeling bad a little bit, you know? So I'm like,
Yeah.
woo, okay.
Just remind me of that guy what's that
Come
guy
out.
that took down a biker gang? That guy with the long beard, big buff, not really buff, kind of fat buff dad body. I forget his
Sitting
name.
at the table, so he has nowhere to go. I come out, and they just kind of looking at me like, and I'm like, hey, bro, I hate to do this, man, but you're under arrest. You got a warrant for your arrest. I'm your bondsman. So he immediately starts going off on her, thinking that she set him up. Going off, getting belligerent. I wound up getting him in control, talking to him real calm, like this is what it is. He wound up just being compliant, putting his hands behind his back. Now, you would think the trouble would come from him. Oh no, the trouble came from her. She started to commence a ass whooping on me, swinging, kicking, spitting on me. She was just, and I understand it. I understand. She felt betrayed. She was just confused. She was angry.
For sure.
And I felt bad about it. So I was like, I can never do that again. Even I don't care how much the money's worth. As a bondsman, we try to stay away from gang members, if all possible. Sometimes you don't know they're affiliated with a gang, and it just is what it is. But we deal with all type of cases, from misdemeanors to F1 felonies. There was a situation where I bonded out a guy. He was trafficking marijuana, truckloads, semis, and we got him out for trafficking drugs. I remember going to this guy's house, knocking on the door, like, hey, you got a payment coming up. I need you to make sure you get a payment. And he looked at me through my soul. There's not too many guys that just look at me and just look at me like I'm nothing. I could just see in his eyes, he was different. He wasn't a normal fugitive that we go after. Turns out he was a part of the cartel. Now, at this moment, when I found this out, I said, oh my God, I hope this guy goes to court. We don't want to be searching for a cartel member.
Yeah.
And God, sense of humor, he missed court. So, at this point, I'm not afraid to go after anyone. This is a job, this is what comes with it, you gotta do what you gotta do, or you lose money. But at this point, I'm like,
might lose your life, boy.
I mean,
that's
how are we gonna do this? We can't lose the money, but then again, we can't put our family and our life in jeopardy looking for this guy. But luckily for us, it wasn't federal, and the feds picked it up, and we didn't have to go after him. That was a situation where I don't know what would have happened, to be honest with you. There was another situation, and me and Tony, that's who I work with now, where we walked up to a house. We were just doing something normal, going to knock on the door just to have a conversation. We were about to go knock on the door, and the guy we wanted to talk to literally hops out the bushes and comes around us. And he could have just shot, he could have took us down. So he seen us on the cameras and was in the bushes. Not knowing who we were until we kind of got up, he kind of seen, identification and badges. But it could have went bad again. Just have situations like that. It's a dangerous job. You start to get a little desensitized to things. I remember we went to this guy's house. He was an older guy. And
what are you doing in the bushes, sir? What are you doing in the bushes?
Tony was just kind of sitting there, hey, put the pistol down, like just super calm. And retrospect, looking hindsight, we're like, man, this guy could have shot us. Looking back at it, kind of shook me a little bit, because sometimes we're so desensitized to things that you don't really realize it. We get the word that an individual is in a certain location, we're going to go surveillance the house first. The longest I've had to stay in a car was 3 days. I got intel from someone saying, hey, he's in the house for sure. But it was a third-party house, so I couldn't just go barge into this house legally without physically seeing him. So if it's a third-party house, it's not on the application or on a warrant, you can't just go in there unless you see them. If you physically identify them in this house, we have the legal right to go in there. So I knew this guy was in this house. I knew if I left, it was a possibility that he would leave. And I was just waiting for one sign for him to pop his head out. And I also knew that he probably knew that I was sitting outside. So at this point, it's a waiting game. Who's gonna outweigh who? And he might have thought that since I was in the car.
That was always me, especially on Rush, boy. I wait 24 hours getting door camped. I'm not moving, I'm waiting. My F1 kill, going outside, checking to see if they were still there. An hour later. You know how crazy Rush players were back then? COVID era, bro. 2019 era, bro. Door camping for a whole hour. 2 hours. I thought he was gonna make it at 3, but I always waited. I was always scared to lose my lead. But
eventually I would leave.
wish I
He
had
didn't
more
know.
time to play Rust, bro.
I stayed in that car.
That
I
game
had
was so
jugs
fun.
of urine in there that you got to pee in the bottle. I DoorDash food. I ordered a pizza, sat up there, ate. I literally stayed there for 3 days.
That sounds
And finally,
really good right now. I'm
like
gonna
I
do that.
said, at some point, he popped his head out. At that point, I called everybody and said, hey, I just seen him, it's go time.
Papa
But if
John's,
I didn't have the patience to sit there
extra cheese,
for those 3 days and thug
square
it out,
cut,
I would have probably knocked on the door
Parmesan,
and burned the address.
red
Now you're back at
peppers.
level 1, yeah. So we're gonna see how many points of entry, windows, we're gonna assess the entire situation. We're gonna find out how many people are in the house. Is this individual armed? What does this individual have on? Once we get all this information, then we'll combine as a team, we'll collab, we'll meet somewhere maybe a mile away from the house. You don't want to meet too close, just in case someone's driving by and they see us, obviously. And nowadays, a lot of people have cameras, so they can see you coming. They can, be prepared for you. Also, we're going to contact local law enforcement to let them know, hey, it's Frank Frazier, I'm in the area, I'm a bail bondsman. We're about to try to apprehend so-and-so. We're at this address, we are armed. There's X amount of guys, so they know exactly what's going on. Because a lot of times,
They don't care though.
when you're about to go hunt, people might see a bunch of guys putting on gear and then they call the police. And then the cops show up, if they don't know what's going on, their guns are drawn, and now you got a whole situation. That is the process before we even get to getting to the house. Then we want to make sure everyone's getting dressed. We're getting a bulletproof vest, we're gonna have handcuffs, definitely want to have mace, and a taser. And someone's always gonna have a gun. The only time it may switch up is if we have to breach a house and we need a sledgehammer or a battle ram. Body cameras on, you wanna make sure it's getting documented, because a lot of times things can happen and people may lie on you. You wanna make sure that you are holding yourself accountable, and also that you have something to cover your ass if something does go wrong. Me personally, I think the most important quality of being a bounty hunter would be you have to embed patience. If you don't have patience, you're gonna suck at this. A lot of guys in today's hunting industry, they're more smash and grab. They lead with the hammer. There's no finesse. Instead of sitting on this house and watching it for 10 days first, they go burn the address. The address is burned, he's never gonna come back there. Under federal law, we are legally permitted to pursue a fugitive in any dwelling. It's a law, it's called Taylor versus Tainter. We sometimes bump heads with law enforcement because they don't know our laws, and they're like,
You know what I'm saying?
you sometimes bump.
They may pursue him into another state, may arrest him. They may pursue him into another state, okay, may arrest him on the, what is the Sabbath? What the heck? It's Old English. And if necessary, may break and enter his house for that purpose. What is the Sabbath?
Heads with law enforcement because they don't know our laws, and they're like, you need a warrant to do that. We can't do that, but we abide by different laws. It's different laws, it's bail laws. If the co-signer signs this bail contract and we're in agreement and this person is hiding in your house, we can break entry if we need to. We're gonna knock first, but if we need to come in and kick the door and breach it, we have.
Or did y'all hear that story where they kicked in this man's, bro. They kicked in this man's crib at night, popped the husband, and he was the wrong person they were searching for. Sad, boy.
Right, this was
they
a
were
case
like, they weren't even old. I think they were
Ohio.
like in their
There was
40s
a
to 50s.
situation with a guy, his girlfriend. I was looking for this
She
young
got paid
lady
for it, but it's like,
this was a $75,000 bond as well.
We don't have
this
a husband,
individual.
bro,
We
like,
had to track him all the way down to a third-party
they got
house.
paid good, but it's like,
And I found out that he's staying there. He's renting there. His name's on the lease. I got word that she was there. He didn't think that I can come into this house, which he had a rude awakening. And he was like, you can't come in here. I didn't put this on the application. After about 5 minutes, he says, fine, come in and check. So I checked upstairs. She's obviously not upstairs hiding. So now there's a door leading downstairs that is conveniently locked. So I said, hey man, open this door. I can't open this door. This is not my house. You can't go in here. So now he's chesting up and trying to get bold, like, you ain't doing nothing. So now I know she's in there hiding. Because if she wasn't, he wouldn't be putting this much of a fight up. So I know exactly when someone's lying to me. 90% of the time when I'm asking questions, I already know the answer to. I just want to see what you're going to say. At this point, I started to kick this door in to go downstairs. Once we go downstairs, I get to searching. What do you know? She's underneath the bed hiding. He comes downstairs, tries to get...
As a grown woman, bro, why are you hiding under the bed from law enforcement, bro? Under the bed, bro. Under the bed, bro. I would much rather you climb through the motherfucking drywall ceiling. Under the bed, bro. Under the bed, bro. You got like 0 XP, bro. Bro, your brain don't work.
We can handle this as men, and we can get back to this.
Under the bed.
And he kindly declined. Most of them
As
do
a
decline.
grown
So, again, I'm not a police
It's your
officer.
first place of choice.
It's the most professional
Life
thing
on the
to do,
line.
no.
Under the bed.
But sometimes
Under
it
the
calls
bed.
for it. I don't do that these days, but yeah, earlier in my
For
days,
sure, bro.
I was a little
For
bit
sure.
more, you know, wild. When you have a contract with a bondsman, my standard is 10%. Again, I've been doing this for a while, so when you hire me, I want the full amount. I would say mostly like 5 to 50,000 is the typical. But the higher it is, the more tighter usually bondsmen are, so you don't get as many as those. That $1 million one is the biggest one I've ever collected. So this was some years ago, we had to look for a guy named Ted Palmer. He was known as a meth cooker, and he eventually was convicted of drug trafficking. The bond one was $75,000. It took me 6 months.
That's low.
Not only was I looking for him, local police was looking for him. This guy was different. He could live anywhere. No one wanted to give us answers, and you know, we had X amount of days to find him. And we got down to the last day before we had to pay out that $75,000. The last possible day, I wound up going to Ted's friend's house, who knew where he was. And he drew up a map where Ted was. I called up the task force. I said, hey, I got whereabouts where this guy is. I think it's the real deal this time.
So why does like the friend snitch though? Like, I'm all for snitching if they're a bad person. Like, the meth cooker, yeah, get you up out of there, man. We don't need people on meth. But it's like, what did the friend get up out of that, you know what I mean? Like, what did you gain? And he's his friend. What the freak?
Once the task force got there, we all got suited up. My adrenaline is pumping. It was me, the task force, went into the trailer, drug him out. They put out the cuffs, cuffed him up. Had no clue that we were ever going to find him. But that was it. After that, he was caught. But it got down to literally the last day where they said, you either find him or you got to cough up that $75,000. So thanking God we found him that day. There's obviously drug epidemic going on now. I mean, it hasn't stopped. The worse it gets with drugs, the more skips we got. There was one year where all I was looking for was drug addicts. And it's because they fear withdrawals more than they fear me, because they get sick. It's a horrible experience when you're taking drugs every day and then you just go cold turkey and you gotta sit in jail. And they fear that, so they'll take off and run. And they're more afraid of going through that than actually getting arrested by me. So yeah, with the drugs,
sad, man.
There's more skips. And
Sad.
It might be a situation where you don't find a person for a month. You don't catch them, you don't eat. When you're hunting, you're gone all the time. It's hard to
I don't know why people be doing it so heavy. Like, you don't do it like,
because you're always going
wait
hunting.
until you're like,
you're just trying to find that next buck, that next buck.
20,
You're literally chasing money. Literally, you're chasing money.
then you do it like once
Ohio,
every
if you just want to hunt
few
and
months.
make a living off of it, you're not gonna make a living. It's not enough to go around. Honestly, you need to be a bondsman. I would recommend doing both to get the full benefit of the industry, yeah.
Training. Yeah, that's the part I wanted to know about.
Me personally, I started in Virginia, and I got a bounty hunting license in Virginia. And I went through a company at the time. I don't think they're no longer around, but I went through a company, and they specifically train for this specific job. So you learn like handcuffing, clearing houses, just different tactical work. So that was my base of it. Now, they didn't teach you the skills you need to know when you're out really dealing with people. You just have to have some type of street awareness. If you don't have good instinct, you're not gonna do well. So typically guys who are from certain areas, they know, oh, I shouldn't go over here. I shouldn't approach this person. White hunter, Caucasian hunters, they can't go in the hood. They stick out like a sore thumb. And as soon as they pop up or they seen in the car sitting doing surveillance, they're gonna be noticed. What made me really good is I'm young, I'm urban, I would blend in the neighborhood, so I could do certain things that other individuals couldn't do. Now, there's situations where I go into environments where there's no black people around. Some of the cops are kind of old school, a little racist. I'm gonna take someone with a friendlier skin color with me. This particular case was early on in my years, and I went to a specific bondsman, and I was like, hey, you got some work? He was like, not really. He was like, but I do got one guy that I'm having a hard time finding. And it was one of them situations where he's a white guy and he can't go in the hood. He's not afraid to go in there. He'll do what he gotta do. But he just couldn't because he stuck out and everyone knew him. So he showed me the guy. He showed me where one of his kids' moms was staying. So what I did was I went to his girlfriend's house, asked to get my hair braided. And I called, I was like, hey, he's in here. So he came, rushed, we arrested dude. You just have to have some type of street awareness. So my first hunting experience actually
I'm not gonna lie, that story made no sense. You knock on somebody's door and actually get your hair braided. Hello? Hello? You knock on somebody's door, right? Randomly. Not expected. And you just actually get your hair braided.
Virginia.
Okay.
Crazy, I was still in college. I was in my senior year of college. I knew I wanted to do this. I called around to every bondsman I could. I'll never forget this guy. His name was Michael Jackson, no lie. And he had this case. It was $1,000 bond, which you only get $100. But he said, hey, I can't find this guy. I don't know where he's at. I heard he's in a hotel somewhere. That's all I know. I went in the area to every hotel, and there had to be about 40 plus hotels. Hey, you seen this guy? Hey, you seen this guy? All night. And probably when I got to about maybe the 30th hotel, they said, yeah, he's in room so-and-so. I said, it's time, okay. I said, hey, can I get the key? They said, no. I said, well, I'm gonna kick it in. Here's the key, sir. I'll never forget that. My stomach was bubbling. I was like, am I really doing this? I'm like, just remember what you was taught. So I started banging on the door. I said, hey, come to the door. It's the bail bondsman. Open up the door.
Well, imagine being in a hotel and get your door kicked in, bro. Bro, shots will be fired, bro. Shots will be fired. In a hotel, you will get popped. I'm not playing around with that.
He wouldn't open
That's a
it.
whole
I
different
said,
story.
okay.
House, of course, too.
Open
But
the door.
hotel is like, it was target.
I'll never forget the scene. Bro had his laptop up. He had a Snickers, a grapefruit, and he had some porn playing on his computer. And he was butt naked. It was the oddest setup I've ever seen. I was like, get on the ground, put your hands behind your back. And I was like, no. Put some clothes on, put your hands behind your back. But yeah, that was my first time catching somebody. Yeah, man, it was a wild time, man. But it was funny. When I took him to the jail, I felt accomplished. I remember calling Michael Jackson.
You got $100.
I got him. He couldn't believe. He's like, what? Gang gave me my $100, man. It was uphill since then. Yeah. I spent more money looking for this guy than I did getting $100. I would tell anybody
for straight gas money too,
or law enforcement, period. If you were bullied as a child, as an adult, and you're trying to use this to get some type of leverage, don't get into this. If you have anger issues, don't get into this. If you just want to be able to hold a gun and give commands and have authority, don't get into this. You have to understand that you have a very big impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
You have to know your laws, and you gotta know how to move in integrity. So you gotta know what you can and cannot do. I mean, sometimes you get those guys who think they're cops, and they start doing too much, and then they wind up in some trouble, you know what I mean? So you gotta know what your lane is.
We're going to end that on chapter 9, bro. We're going to finish the rest on another day. I can't do it. I got to upload soon, so I'm kind of in a rush right now. I couldn't find a video that I wanted to react to, so we stepped on this one. It's decent. It's alright. I'll give it like a 4, like a 4.7 or something. It's alright. It's calm, decent stories.